Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank here. We're going to talk with Jorge, and we're going to look over on some of the deep technologies that are transforming our today's society. You want to say something, Jorge?
Hey, what's up, everybody, and let's get going.
All right, so here's the thing. First topic is tech companies are making the most money in 2021. I even seen here that the companies are making 33 to 45% year over year from last year to this year. What do you think about that?
That it goes with the trend, and specifically, with COVID hit, tech companies' stocks went all the way up, and it's not looking like it's gonna stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel contrary to that because I think next year, or at least this year, if inflation hit the way it does, maybe people will begin to start seeing a decline in these companies because they can't afford to keep moving the way they're moving. That's my opinion, but definitely as this is happening, startups are pushing. Like you mentioned, I think you were mentioning Web3. They're pushing that at a whole new level. These startups, so I don't know how these big time companies can keep up with that. So.
I believe they'll keep up because they can go two routes: adapt and go with the movement, or like a lot of them do, just buy up the new starting companies and
True.
just develop on those. But
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
there might be a downtrend, but eventually they're gonna, keep on going. They're too big to fail. A lot of them.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully by the end of this year they don't overdo it. Because I don't know if the stocks prices will start decreasing because at the end of this year they're not worth that much, but we'll see. All right. So topic number 2. Software developers are becoming Web3 developers. There's a big push on this. Web3 personnel, people are trying to get ahead of the curve by jumping into Web3 before it becomes the new adoption and as a software developer. What do you think about this? Your viewpoints on that?
That we're already having this switch where there's no front end developer and back end developer. Right now, if you're not a full stack developer, you're already out of the loop. And now with Web3, it's even gonna be more out of the loop if you don't go into the trend. Like if you're not into blockchain, smart contracts, you're not gonna go
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm seeing a lot of developers. Like I was on Twitter the other day, and I was looking at these groups of people are pushing so hard to get a lot of developers into this ecosystem, learning how to write in different like Solaris or things like Remix or whatever, to learn how to deal in blockchain technologies, so they can start building these D apps. That's what it's called. I think it's the third level protocol or something like that, where you get in early, and as you in early, you get the proceeds, or I don't know, you know how the NFT works or a DAO works, where you get the initial. If you're in early, you get the most money out of it because you have the most stake early on. So,
Yeah.
well, we'll see. I definitely may consider doing something like this. Because I definitely want to be early on this. I don't want to be late. So we'll see.
No, right now you got all this metaverses selling their, pieces, quote unquote, that a lot of people have a lot of plans and roadmaps of what they're gonna do inside the metaverse, but it's all speculation. But it's trying to get early on it, basically.
That's true. Yeah, I hope. I've even dabbled with thinking about what could I do in the metaverse that's actually like real, not like the jokey stuff, but stuff that actually has real usefulness. Like AR to me is very important. Like I want something in real life that can help me in real life that I can see that is a simulation of the current world, that can help layer on top of things so it makes it easier. So for example, in that Bradley Cooper movie, Limitless, he looks up, right? And he sees like these little the tiles trickle, and you know what I'm talking about, where
Yeah.
he sees all these different stock names and the prices, and all of a sudden it kind of falls to just one, and he goes back to the computer and look at it again. I might play that over top of this, but it's just like that's exactly kind of like what I want to have in VR to kind of help me in my day to day, you know, situation.
Yeah,
All right, so
I remember last thing. I remember when Zuckerberg came out with the Meta trailer and how the
Oh yeah.
metaverse will look like. I was like,
Hmm.
man, yeah, that's very ambitious. I don't even know if you're close to developing or putting all of that in production, but we'll
That
see.
it's crazy though. I mean, even I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but even Peter Thiel decided to leave. If you've noticed that lately, he left the company.
Mm.
Well, I think it's because related things to like Trump or whatever is going on with that, but I ain't getting that detail. But he left the company, so now Zuckerberg's on his own. So we'll see. And he was the initial investor in the company back in 2005. So we'll see how far Metaverse actually goes if without a lot of support. So we'll see. Um, Next topic. People are trying to move to a 4-day work week. That's a new transition. They're moving from 32 hours to 40 hours. I'm sorry, from 40 hours to 32 hours a week, because they feel though that it makes a more balanced lifestyle. So what do you
Yeah,
think on
like
that? Yeah.
if I remember correctly, the 9 to 5, 5 day a week thing was actually creative, if you can say that, by the Ford CEO.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he had that philosophy. So if you think about it, we haven't gone out of that in how many years?
It's been about almost 100 years now, probably. Maybe a little less than
Yeah,
100 years, probably. Yeah.
I remember back then it was always this philosophy like if you were like a workaholic, you were like a really good employee. It was
Yeah.
this, oh, if you were 30 years with the company, you like crack your back for it. It was like a badge of honor. But
Yes.
nowadays, even the 4 day, it's kind of like a let's at least get this first. But eventually, what everybody wants, is the ability to go remote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the weird thing is, people are pushing. Like I've seen things of people say, "Well, I work 2 to 3 hours a day, but I do it 5 to 7 days a week." And I'm like, if you calculate the number of hours on that, like that's not enough hours. You're only doing half the hours. And I'm like, okay, I guess people say, well, I want to target just the work, and without that, I'm just wasting time. So why not spend
Yeah.
the time doing what I want to do? Which is weird to me. Like, but you're paid for the number of hours you work. So it's a weird paradox, and I understand what people are saying they want to work the 4 day work week because they want to have more time with their family or whatever they're doing, versus staying in the office. But think about it is, does that reduce productivity? Does that reduce the amount of time to get things done? Like, is there an effect to this, or will you still see the same amount of work done? It just happened to be done faster.
Well, I know I don't remember the company or his name, but remember a few years ago there was this CEO that went kind of viral, where he I think
Oh
sold his
yeah,
Tesla or and increased 70% the salary of all his employees.
yeah. I
And
see him
a
on
few,
LinkedIn all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, a few universities did a study on it, and it's been a few years, and it's like, hey, what happened? How's it going? And
Yeah.
yeah, like productivity and morale, everybody like was way better. And I think every employee even had a mortgage, a house, and everything.
Yeah, I know. I see that
So
guy. He blasted some. It was on LinkedIn. I saw him. He was blasting someone about how their working conditions, because he talks about working conditions all the time on
yeah,
LinkedIn, and he grew a huge following from that. Crazy. All right. So next one. Google is phasing out third-party cookies and deciding to replace them.
mm,
It's crazy. So you can't. They call it now. They call it the privacy sandbox. Um, my question is, if they implement this, right, how would this impact other companies who use that data? Which I know there's a lot of problems with that, but what do you think about that?
well, if I understand this, I know a lot of the Facebook earnings got hit because Apple came out with the whole privacy thing that they're not
Yeah,
going to share data. So that was a huge hit. And if everybody goes towards that path, uh, it might not look good for companies that the their earnings and everything go off of selling data.
yeah, that's a weird thing. If Facebook, I know they have to change fast because if they do something called the privacy sandbox where Facebook can't get the data, um, or anyone else. I don't know how many companies who have an ad service business. they could get killed from this. But at the same time, um, Google Google themselves, does that mean that they have the right to the data themselves? Is there privacy sandbox? It means only they get that data, but everyone else doesn't. So, for
I
example, if you have the phone,
yeah.
or yeah,
Well, I don't know. I might doubt it because you want to be transparent. If nowadays you're gonna literally tell people that only us will be allowed to have this data, like people are going moving towards like don't have any data at all, like from
yeah,
me. So yeah, I don't know how
that
that's
would
gonna
that would
play.
be weird though, because they could do that, but it could also at the same time their business is based on ads. That's how they make money. So I can't imagine them doing it to themselves, because every time you go to when you go to a web page on Google, automatically if you type something in, they'll give the best results for you based on your data, I guess. Um, I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see what
like
they do.
I'd say the only difference might be because the whole point is targeting the ads, like
Yeah.
specifically for you. So if you can't do targeted ads, then yeah, I don't know.
All right. So number five, Apple AirTags in their devices. They are now switching and changing them up because of the fact that too many people are feeling like they're being targeted or tracked.
Yeah,
um, like we didn't know this was gonna come.
exactly. It's like what you thought was gonna happen. I don't know.
Exactly. So they had decided to change the design, make it louder so you can hear it better when you use it, and also they try to let people know that if there's a tag around you or something around you that's not one of your devices pinging around on you, they'll let you know that exists. Maybe you can take it to the police. I don't know. But overall, that's what they're trying to do. I mean, I don't see the point of an AirTag. I get it. I don't lose my keys. I don't lose my whatever. But at the end of the day, like stuff don't get lost that much. You need an AirTag for it.
Hey, it's a combination of a lot of people maybe lose a lot of things and just being with the trend and
It's
just
true.
having another Apple product on your
I
hands.
I can see the point with like kids, like maybe your kids in school and they have their book bag or whatever, and you want to keep on top of that. But even that, people feel a little weird about that as well. But there was this lady, she was tracking her husband. Right, I had an article on this, and she's now she's a journalist, right? But she wanted to see actually how did it work, and she was just like crazy how the surveillance worked, where she was able to check out where her husband was doing, where he was at, and everything, just because he had an Apple tag on her. And now it was for journalism purposes. So she was really trying to do this,
Yeah.
but it was just crazy how people can stalk you. And I personally don't want one because I don't want no one stalking me either. I like my privacy. I sound British on that privacy.
Yeah,
Privacy.
it's that the difference, let's say like the difference between just having Find My iPhone and sharing it is that you're sharing it, who you're sharing it to. But yeah, there's been cases where people go to the house and then they see an Apple AirTag like under like by the car, by the tire, they sneak it in there. And it's like
Yeah.
I had to put this there. So you
That's
know
creepy.
what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
So
I
from
know.
there,
And
and
I don't know if it's a two double-edged sword if Apple wanted to do that for themselves, because that's a lot of data for them. Um, because then they also control your devices. It's technically an IoT, really. It's the
yeah,
IoT Internet of Things, where it's able to track your multiple different other items as well. So they kind of get a sense of where if your phone is not with you, we still know where your keys are. You have your keys in your pocket, your wallet, your kids, or whatever. So we have multiple points of.
you know where your kids are.
Exactly. Do you know where your kids are? Well, Apple does.
Oh, that too. That's scary. That's scary. You know what? Yeah.
It's scary. Um, okay, so next topic is Peloton going to go to zero. As you already know, well, their whole thing is getting destroyed.
Yeah. So I, from what I read, they really blew up during COVID, and I'm guessing because everybody was at home. So hey, might as well buy
Yeah.
this and work at home. And they ramped up production, and I think they scaled it in a way, thinking the growth was gonna be that dramatically and gonna keep going even after COVID.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were really wrong on that. And now they have this whole inventory of Pelotons that they don't even know what the hell to do with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and if you think about it, it's a really it's a really expensive bike that doesn't need to be an expensive bike.
It doesn't. And then they
So
figured that out. I think they were thinking like when they built this bike, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's a very luxury item that everyone's gonna want because COVID came in, kicked them in the butt, and said, hey, we need to ship these things out. Production went high." But now they're like you said, they are like, "Wait, is this really expensive bike? It doesn't necessarily need to be expensive. It's no longer luxury anymore. It's actually just a regular bike. Everyone, just please buy it." And they shut down their whole entire production to nothing now, which people are now losing jobs. I think the CEO just got replaced.
yeah,
Um,
they fired 7,000 employees, I think. Something like that.
good. Oh, is that many?
Yeah,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I know if you think about it now, you have the combination of there's a lot of competition, much cheaper,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
COVID is ramping down, so you can go out.
Exactly. I mean, if I really want to work out, honestly, I just go to the gym. Or what I've been doing lately is just kind of just doing stuff like regular stuff around the house that I don't need any bike for. Or I can just go out and run. Like I don't need the like it never worked
No,
for me run a bike.
and the whole point is, yes, you have the bike, you bought it, it's expensive, but you'll have to buy the membership, or else why buy the bike?
Exactly.
So you have a
Exactly.
monthly membership over there that you probably are not really using. So yeah.
Exactly. Or if you just want the membership, you just get that. Like you don't need the entire bike to do that. If you want the camaraderie or something like that, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Number 7. Apple changes every employee job title to associate when they leave.
That's petty.
No. So basically, when you leave, I don't know how long they've been doing this for, but it just came out lately that so basically, if you're in a job market, so basically how it works is verification. So did this person work as a product manager there? No, they were associate. Everybody's
Damn.
associate when they leave, and it's like you can't verify what the person technically did when they were there because the job title is no longer there anymore. The day before they walk out, they get converted and changed over. Now, I assume you can still put this on your LinkedIn. I can't imagine you can't be like, oh yeah, I was a product manager, but no one can verify that you were a product manager.
Well, I don't know, like the way you can get around it. I don't know how their final offers work. That it might say the actual position you signed up for,
Oh yeah, yeah,
or
that's true.
if you go in there, a lot of companies have the position description, print it
Yes.
out before they before before they change you.
Exactly.
So you're like, hey, no, look, it was really this.
I wonder if people even knew this. I wonder if employees just didn't know for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it came out, and people were like, "Wait, what?" Because people are like, did not. A lot of people didn't know about this, and I would be upset too. That I go back to my jobs, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you were entry level." Like, no, I wasn't. I was a I was a sophomore.
Damn.
I was a
You imagine you're all the way to senior and you're like, no, this is an entry level.
That's what it is. Basically, what associate is considered an entry level position when you consider associate, which is
Yeah.
sad. So,
And end of the day, like you can twist your title so many ways, but it'll just mean the same thing.
exactly. I just think like if I'm on LinkedIn, right, and I'm like, I worked at Apple, I was a product manager, and they like, or a product designer, and someone says, oh wow, that's wonderful. Let's go back and verify you, because they had those like background checks or whatever, and they're like, no, you were an associate. No, I wasn't an associate. Apple converts everyone to associates.
But
So
if you want to go even deeper, if you think about it, even on LinkedIn, they don't really validate what you're writing. You can say that you were the CEO of Facebook, and like
I think somebody tried that before. They were like CEO something, and they try to go around with it, and then they got caught. And they now, if you were nobody's one thing, but I think this person was like trying to make it known to people or spoof people, and they got in trouble, so they had to convert it back. But
oh yeah,
yeah, you can put
if
anything you
they
want.
get you, but yeah, you might get away with it.
True, it's true. But yeah, it's sad though because you worked at a job, you want to show off the work you did, and you no longer have that ability. And I don't even know what the rights are. I don't know if you even when you sign out and you do your outro with the company. I don't know if they
You mean
tell
that?
you you're not allowed to put on LinkedIn or something like that. I don't know. I mean, they can't tell
Yeah.
you that, but I
I,
know for their part they can.
at the end of the day, the outboarding, I think is
Yeah,
it whatever they say it is.
yeah, that's exactly. And I'm gonna keep that. Even though I
Now,
don't work there, but
I doubt they're making you sign like an NDA, but
I heard some people were saying they were upset by the fact they were forced to sign some paperwork in order for them to either outro or intro, whatever the process is. But I that's why I'm very, very cautious about these companies and what they make you sign.
but then like
Um,
yeah, like if that NDA even says you can't even say your title, that's that's
that
a lot.
sucks. You went to Apple? Yeah. What did you do? I was
Yeah,
something.
something. Yeah,
I was an
I
associate.
just worked on this. No, it doesn't matter.
All right, next one. Deep Dub raises a $20 million round for their AI powered dubbing the actor voices. So basically, you took a voice of say Robert Downey Jr. And then say, you know what, I'm gonna dub his voice into Spanish, and he has the same voice, but it's a different language, so that Spanish speakers can use it, or if in German, or in whatever other language. And it's done by AI, so they don't need to go in and do it by the person. So it's fast, it's clean, it's easy. What are your views on this?
Yeah, it's scary and really cool in a way. Like
Yeah,
I feel bad for a lot of dub artists because
I know.
they're not gonna like this. But yeah, like having the same actor like on his own voice on different languages, pretty cool. And I know out there's another company that works on syncing the dub with the lips. So if you
Okay,
combine that with this, yeah,
okay, that's crazy, isn't it?
yeah, like I don't know.
So
And if you think about it, there's a lot of bad ways you can use this for too.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, what if someone says, you know what, I want to say someone famous. I don't know, you name a person, right? And they spread, something about a person in a different language, misinterpreting it, in all other languages, maybe in different countries, and people think this person actually said it because it sounds like their voice, right? And
Yeah.
because I imagine that you don't have to just use particularly the voice of the person at the moment they're saying it. I can imagine you can use this where I can type up something on some kind of like WordPress or not, or some formatted words, let it read that, and then convert it into the voice of the person, and then it sounds like that person's saying it. Um,
Yeah.
that would be rough.
You can even go as far and not even look at it just dub, just I guess with this software I can capture a lot of your voice and
Yeah,
just create a whole new thing that you're saying, even in the same language, and just use that and fake that it's actually you saying all this stuff.
exactly. It's if they actually, I don't know how much further this will go, but this could change, like you said, not just the dubbing industry, but just the entire acting industry as well. Because if they all combine this voiceovers with maybe some kind of, like you say, the Matrix, right, where
Yeah.
they had
Oh,
people
I
moving
got one.
around.
I got one. If you combine it with, I think, deep face was it?
Yeah, it was deep fake. Well, was that the
A deep
voice, or
fake.
was that the
No, no.
okay?
But if you combine the voice with deep fake too, yeah,
Yeah,
you got the whole person right there.
exactly. And that's the part. And it's weird though because you have that, and then I've seen like different things. Like even there was the movie Matrix came out lately, Resurrection, and they were able to kind of recreate Neo again from his young age, right?
Oh.
He looked younger, and
Hmm.
it's weird though. It was hard to decipher that it was him. Now, of course, it was still Drew, but it was AI built behind all that. And I'm thinking to myself that if you can generate a person, both the visual and the voice, and they're acting without the person physically being there, you start wondering, like, what am I? Do we even need actors anymore? And that's a very hard thing for the acting industry to be in.
Like look at now in Star Wars is one of the movies. The whole CGI put in the actors' young selves. So, yeah.
Oh god, dude, I don't know. Is at the end of the day, I would be a creme de la creme, and wherever the creme de la creme is, which is if it's in AI or if it's in blockchain, or if it's just building something that is whatever. That's where I want to be. Anyway, I appreciate your time. Appreciate your time, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hey, see ya.